Okay, so let's talk about this book series. So this is The Lycans by Jenika, and these are very special to me because they are the books that got me into audiobooks. I had downloaded Tempt, not really knowing what Tempt was, and discovering it was audiobooks, and I just kind of went with it, and I checked out Big Bad Wolf. I didn't do The King because I can't find The King. Can't find the audiobook for The King. But all of these, they're very interconnected. Very interconnected. I don't even know that I would call them interconnected standalones, just interconnected, because like book one is a complete story, but it leads you to book two, and like you get POVs from the characters for the next book within the book, so it's very connected and it sets it up. But every single one of these books has kind of follows like a storyline where there's the problems, there's the big bad, there's the stuff going on, but they solve it. They solve what's going on within the book and tie it up while leaving room for the next book. So like in a few of these books, there's like a secret society that's like kidnapping supernaturals, and like they get rid of that faction, and they in this book, and so you know that faction's gone, and they've solved it, they've fixed it in the moment, but you also know that like they're not fully done, and they're leaving room for them to kill off more of these people. So it very much so leads into the next book while tidying it up in a neat little bow, leaving room for the next book, and then giving you a really good epilogue. And all of the epilogues, either of these 7 books, not kind of the King because I have another one, either have pregnancy, like she's announcing she's pregnant, she's having a baby, or they're discussing like a family in the future, being like, let's try for a baby. So it was very, very baby forward epilogues. There was also a lot of breeding within the series where he's like, I'm gonna put a baby in you type thing. So like you knew that was coming, and I liked that. I liked that ending. I do love a pregnancy epilogue. So that's what I come to expect. Now, this is The Wolf's Appetite. This is book 8. Now, book 7, The Fall, came out in August of 2022. This one came out in September of 2025. So there was over a 3-year gap between releasing books. But this book follows Lennox. He's a triplet in like the royal family, and he gets in a really bad accident and like injury and bite marks where his wolf is internalized itself. It's tragic. He's struggling. He's met his mate, but like he can't sense that it's his mate, but he knows that like it was very good at the beginning. And book 7, The Fall, sets this book up. So you know that this is the next book. But there was no books in the series for 3 more years. And then this one came, and this one was a little shorter than the other books. And I was loving it. Like there's a few things that were confusing, but that was like maybe my fault that I hadn't paid enough attention because I was driving as I was reading this. But like there seems to be setting up for like a big final battle. And so I'm expecting that either this is going to be the last book and they're going to get the final battles, and it's been 3 years, I'm thinking maybe she's over the series, or that it's gonna tidy things up in a way that leaves room for them to continue battling for the next one and then have an epilogue. And it did none of that. This was the most unfinished feeling book that I have ever read, and it made me so mad. It got a 2-star, and I rarely rate anything below a 3. It is very rare that I rate below a 3 because they have this big final battle type thing coming on, and they don't solve any of it. They leave it at, okay, we're gonna live our lives, and we're gonna ignore the fact that all of these bad things are happening. Is essentially what they're saying in this book, and I get to an extent like they had to move on, even though like they were trying to fix it, trying to battle it, trying to get rid of the big bad guys, but like they couldn't. But this didn't solve anything, and then it gave us a shitty epilogue on top of that. Like the epilogue had absolutely nothing. Like there was no substance to the epilogue. It was just like, oh, we moved into a house that my housekeeper mate had bought herself. Like what? It was confusing. And it made me really mad because I waited for 3 years for this book. And I do know it did come out September 2025, but I did have to reread all the books because it had been 3 years, and I had to wait for the audiobook to be available. And the audiobook wasn't available at the beginning, so it was a few months before the audiobook was available, and then I kind of forgot about it. But I waited 3 years for this book, only for it to be the most disappointing book I have read all year. So yeah, I'm a little pissed about it.